Welcome back to Breakfast Television. Beautiful, the Carole King Musical opens tonight in Calgary, and joining us this morning from the production are Alison Whitehurst and Jacob Heimer. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
This show is so astonishing. It's one of those shows where I didn't realize the catalog of songs that we're talking about.
Yeah.
She is behind some of the most famous songs on the planet. What do people need to know when it comes to the music in this show?
You know, truly, they don't need to know anything. And I think that's sort of great, is that you can come whether or not you are a lifetime fan of Carole King or think you don't know her. Many people who don't even recognize her name come and hear the music and they say, oh my goodness, these songs, Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow, The Locomotion, these songs they didn't realize were written by this woman, and they were.
And they were, absolutely. Jacob, run through some of those titles. You mentioned a couple there,
sure.
but there's so many that we would recognize.
Yeah, Carole King and Jerry Goffin were writing like incredible songs for the Drifters and the Shirelles. They wrote Up on the Roof, I think, as you mentioned, and The Locomotion for their babysitter, little Eva, was literally their babysitter. You know, One Fine Day,
Will You Still Love Me
Tomorrow? I mean, it's not in the show, but they wrote Something Tells Me I'm Into Something Good. Like, you know, they're behind all of these massive hits from the 60s that people don't necessarily associate with the Tapestry era, long hair Carole King.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And then we have to get to Carole King's story. Her personal story is actually pretty remarkable. Can you run that through for us?
Sure. So she starts out very young, 16 years old, realizes that she wants to be a songwriter. So she has this big dream, and that's truly all she's looking for at the time. She goes and she meets Donnie Kirshner at the Alden building and says, hey, I want to be a songwriter. She gets the job. She meets her later writing partner immediately, and then husband, Jerry Goffin. They team up, meet their best friends, Cynthia Weil and Barry Mann, who we play, that are also their fiercest competitors. And she goes down this journey of realizing how to stand on her own 2 feet and how to find her own voice, which inevitably culminates into the Tapestry album, where she starts to sing her own music for the very first time.
Right, right. And that's something that we can all sort of relate to, isn't it, Jacob? This sort of trajectory that leads you up to finding your own voice.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of I think the reason why the show is successful is because it's really about Carole's story, and you really do come for these glorious songs, and there are these big production numbers that are beautiful. Sorry, it's like impossible not to use that word. But then you really stay for her story and her perseverance and where she gets to at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's so inspirational, isn't it?
Yes.
So what can we expect from the actual production here in Calgary? What are we going to see?
Oh, you're going to see beautifully danced, huge numbers, beautiful sets, costume changes, a lot of laughter. The script that's been written by Douglas McGrath is very, very funny. And that's one of my favorite parts about the show, is just getting to laugh and share all of these moments with the audience. So it's a really great time, in addition to how great the music is.
Wow, wonderful. Jacob, you were saying that this has been on Broadway for 4 years already and doing so well.
That. Yeah, they just had their 2000th show last week. Yeah, it's doing all right. People still want to see the story.
No kidding. Yeah. And do you think it's something that we can all sort of relate to when it comes to this idea of someone's own perseverance, right? Because she just tried so hard. And, you know, she thought she was going in one direction, and then she was able to pivot and then just sort of soar.
Yeah, one thing that I think is so beautiful about her story is that what motivated her from the very beginning, fame or not, relationship or not, was her love for her music and for her gift. And she followed that gift, and it took her on quite the journey as people tried to attach to her and as she learned things. But the music is what has kept her stable through it all, and that's beautiful to see.
Right. Do we know what Carole King thinks of this story?
Well, I was going to say, it still drives her today. I mean, you see her talk about music today, and she's still such a music geek.
Right.
We were actually lucky enough, she visited our cast a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
What was that like?
It was incredible. And we, of course, had no idea that she was going to do it. But the actress who plays Carole King in our company, Sarah Bockel, she came out for her bow, and we saw tears streaming down her face. And we were going, oh no, what's happened? And then the music stops, and out walks Carole King.
Wow.
And the rest of us, we didn't know that she was here, but Sarah had seen her in the wing before she came out. And she came out and she sang, and it was
what a moment.
Very, yes.
What a moment. Well, I'm sure it's going to be a moment here in the city of Calgary. The show opens tonight and runs through Sunday. Thank you both so much for being here and telling us all about the show. Have a great run.
Thank you.
We're going to go for a break here on Breakfast Television.